Scary Stories in Real Places. Episode 2. Secrets of the Dolls. Mysteries in Nagoro. Nestled deep in the mountains of Shikoku Island, Nagoro is a tiny village in Japan that time seems to have forgotten. With a dwindling population, the village is more famous for its eerie inhabitants. Hundreds of life-sized dolls crafted by Tsukimi Ayano, an elderly resident. Each doll represents a former villager, placed around the town in various poses, creating a bizarre and unsettling atmosphere. But there's a story behind these dolls that few dare to speak of. A story of a night when the dolls came to life. It was a cold, moonless night when Hiroshi, a young urban explorer with a fascination for the paranormal, arrived in Nagoro. Drawn by the legends of the village, he planned to document his experience and share it with his online followers. Armed with a flashlight, camera, and a sense of adventure, he began his exploration just as the sun set. The village was eerily silent, the only sound being the crunch of Hiroshi's footsteps on the gravel. The dolls, dressed in worn clothes and posed in everyday activities, watched him with blank, unblinking eyes. As night fell, the village seemed to close in around him, the doll's presence becoming more oppressive. Hiroshi set up his camera near the schoolhouse where a group of dolls sat in an outdoor classroom. He spoke into the camera, recounting the history of Nagoro and the dolls, when he heard a rustling noise behind him. Turning quickly, he saw nothing but the rows of dolls frozen in their silent lecture. Shrugging it off as the wind, he continued his narration. An hour later, Hiroshi felt a chill run down his spine. He turned around again, and this time he could have sworn the dolls had shifted slightly. Their heads seemed to tilt, and their empty eyes appeared to follow him. Unease settled in, but he pushed it aside, determined to capture footage that would thrill his audience. As he moved through the village, the sense of being watched grew stronger. Each time he looked away, the dolls seemed to move, ever so slightly, as if they were closing in on him. Panic started to take root, and he decided it was time to leave. But when he reached the edge of the village, he found his path blocked by a group of dolls that hadn't been there before. Heart pounding, Hiroshi turned back towards the center of the village, hoping to find another way out. The dolls were everywhere now, their numbers seemingly increasing. He tripped over a fallen tree and landed hard on the ground, his flashlight rolling away. In the dim light, he saw the dolls surrounding him, their faces twisted into grotesque smiles. Desperate, he grabbed his flashlight and ran towards the only place he hadn't yet explored, the old community hall. Bursting through the doors, he slammed them shut behind him and leaned against them, panting heavily. The hall was filled with more dolls, arranged in various social settings. In the dim light, their expressions seemed almost mocking. Hiroshi backed away slowly, his flashlight flickering. Suddenly, a whisper filled the room. A soft, chilling voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. "Join us," it said. The dolls began to twitch, their limbs jerking as if trying to break free from invisible strings. The temperature in the room dropped, and Hiroshi's breath came out in white puffs. The whispering grew louder, more insistent. "Join us," it chanted. In a moment of blind panic, Hiroshi dropped his flashlight and ran for the back door, slamming it open and fleeing into the night. He didn't stop running until he reached the nearest town, collapsing in exhaustion. When he told his story, the locals listened with a mixture of fear and skepticism. No one dared to return to Nagoro, and Hiroshi never spoke of that night again. Years later, another group of explorers ventured into Nagoro, hoping to uncover the truth behind the legends. They found Hiroshi's camera, its memory card still intact. The footage revealed the dolls moving in the darkness, their eyes glowing with a sinister light. But the most chilling part was the final frame. A doll that looked exactly like Hiroshi, standing among the others, its lifeless eyes staring directly into the camera. Nagoro remains a place of mystery and fear, its silent inhabitants waiting patiently for the next soul to join their eternal vigil. Thank you for watching. Like, share, and follow for more scary stories in real places.